town produced Scotland's two most iconic brands, and yet its role in our greatest disasters forgotten. Even if you knew the answer to these two questions, I've got more hidden gems and surprises as I take you on a whistle-stop tour of the history of Kilmarnock. If you're interested in the people, places and events in Scottish history, then click the subscribe button at the bottom right of the screen. And if you enjoy this video, then give it a thumbs up, share it, and watch the next one. In the meantime, let me tell you a story. Rabbie Burns and Johnnie Walker Whisky. I can't think of two more iconic brands for global Scotland. Now, you may know the success of both is rooted in Kilmarnock, but there's way more than that to tell. It starts earlier than you think. It comes together later than you think. And its significance is greater than you think. So let me tell you why Kilmarnock is so special to Scotland. When did folks first settle around here? Well, we know that just outside Kilmarnock, almost 6,000 years ago, folk were building a short-term camp for seasonal get-togethers. Not long after farming had become a thing, they were still gathering and maybe doing a bit of hunting as well. They'd come together around autumn time, gather huge quantities of hazelnuts from the surrounding area, roast them and store them in some of the earliest pottery ever found in Scotland. Brainy archaeologists found pits, potholes, charcoal pottery and loads of hazelnut shells. Radiocarbon dated to around 3,500 BC in the early Neolithic, this was the transition point between hunter-gatherers and Ayrshire farmers. Found preserved in the archaeological record around Kilmarnock. How mental is that? Obviously, it wasn't called Kilmarnock then. So where did the name come from? Well, you probably know Kil is the Gaelic for a church. And the traditional explanation is that Mo is my in Gaelic, Iarnan is the name of a monk who was the uncle of St. Columba as it happens, and Och is a diminutive. So the church of my little Iarnan is Kilmarnock. Kilmarnock. I have seen another explanation that suggests that Marnock Water was named much earlier than the Columba's uncle thing, and maybe that was just to give it an ecclesiastical boost later. And since Kilmarnock's reinvented itself more than once, who knows? For the first incarnation, let me tell you about the Boyd family. Rising from obscurity, key to Scotland's expansion into the Hebrides and the Northern Isles, close to the King of Scots, rising to run the country as regents over the young King James III. That's right. Whilst James III was a boy, these guys ran the country. Then they lost that all, rose again before rebelling against the Hanoverians, execution on the Tower Hill, and this place, destroyed by fire. Oh! Robert Boyd, whose dad had fought the Norse at the Battle of Largs in 1263, stood with William Wallace and was one of the first to join up with Bruce when he took over the patriotic cause. He helped lead one of the Chilterns at Bannockburn and in reward was given lands here. They would build on this central tower house keep over the years. The family fortune fluctuated over the centuries and the castle rose and fell with those waves of fortune and disaster. And it's still part of Kilmarnock today, free to the public. Scotland's history etched into stone. So, not long after Bannockburn, the Boyds sat here in their castle, and a mile to the south was the Lake Church, around which a small curtain grew. By 1534, documents refer to the town and castle of Kilmarnock. But anyone who watches this channel will know that the real growth comes when you establish a borough. That was about to come. So the significant moment was the 12th of January 1591. Well, it may actually have been 1592 because you really need to watch my video. I bet you didn't know this about Scottish New Year. That'll deliver a few surprises about the Scottish calendar. You can come back here and click the link top right or search I bet you didn't know this about a Scottish New Year. The point is that on the 12th of January, sometime in the late 16th century, Thomas Lord Boyd created a borough of barony. Now, a borough of barony just means that the borough was set up by the local baron as opposed to a royal borough by the king. And let me tell you, there's going to be some trouble about the distinction when Irvine down the road sees what Kilmarnock gets up to. What I'm saying is that as a borough, Kilmarnock could hold a weekly market and an annual fair. And it allowed burgesses to be or to elect bailies to administer the town. The market would probably have been just there at the cross, and Kilmarnock became a busy trading town. In fact, they were trading too much. That's what caused the upset with Irvine. It had been a royal borough since 1372. Now, a royal borough had wider rights and privileges, like international trade and stuff like that. You can imagine how pissed off they were when the 30 years old upstart borough barony next door were getting up to unauthorised trade with Ireland, France, Holland, Norway, England, and even Virginia. Aye, by this stage, James was King of England and Columba had crossed the ocean. The town grew and prospered. Textile production, wool preparation, handloom weaving, bonnet making, leather work and metal, trades and craftsmen. Kilmarnock's success was in the diversity of the activities hustling and bustling round this market with all sorts of skills and activities bursting out of small houses, workshops and yards, winding streets and crooked lanes, open drains and industrial burns, mills, bridges, a toll booth and a gallows. All the signs of a growing town. Oh, I meant to show you that Lake Church. I said that this church in Dean Castle had been the core around which Kilmarnock grew in the 15th and 16th centuries. Of course, the big event of the 16th century was the Reformation. It seems that the Lake Church here and the folks round about quickly transitioned to the new Reformed religion. The Boyds had supported Mary Stuart, but comfortably put on the cloak of the Kirk. Another local noble had been a strong supporter of John Knox. So when the religious conflicts of the 17th century finally arrived, Kilmarnock was firmly in the Covenanter camp. That's the proper mental pro-Kirk, there'll be nae king o'er us mob. In the church here, one of the gravestones you'll see is for John Ross and John Shields. But the graves contain only their heads. See, in 1666, they were executed for being Covenanters, and their heads were set up at Kilmarnock as a warning to others not to support that cause. The people of Kilmarnock later took the heads down to give them a Christian burial here in the grounds of the Lake Church. Another stone here is for John Nisbet. In 1683, he was executed at Kilmarnock Cross for adhering to the Covenanting cause. There's a marble stone at the entrance to the Burgh shopping mall to mark where he was executed. But the tables were turned in 1688. James VII, that's the second in England, was overthrown by William of Orange. Oh, the people of Kilmarnock would have been pleased by that. They might not have been quite so happy when William After signing off the statute creating the Company of Scotland trade into Africa and the Indies, buckled to pressure from the English East India Company and forbade folks in England from investing in the Scottish venture. The response here in Kilmarnock was huge. In fact, the people of Kilmarnock invested more per head in the financially disastrous Darien scheme than just about any other town, almost as much in total as bigger towns like Perth and Dundee, twice as much as nearby Irvine, although Ayr did beat Kilmarnock. Oh, they'll love that. Interestingly, the money was raised by merchants, apothecaries, solicitors and the likes. No great earls or lairds, but the professional and merchant class. Kilmarnock was built on ingenuity, diversified skills and trade. Of course, the loss of the capital in the Darien disaster would have reduced the funds to reinvest in equipment, warehouses, shipping, other overseas trade and stuff like that. The impact would have been quite noticeable. But 30 years later, Kilmarnock got into a new area of expertise: carpets. Kilmarnock would become a centre for carpet making. You can imagine how pissed off they'd be when Kirkcaldy went full non-fluff covering with linoleum. I made a video about Kirkcaldy. You can come back and click top right to watch that, or maybe I'll leave a link at the end. The biggest carpet maker that dominated the market in the 20th century was a company called BMK. Apparently, their carpets made their way in the Oval Office at the White House and Disneyland Hotel and the set of the film Titanic. In fact, one of the company's first major orders was for White Star Line to make carpets for the Titanic, and their last major order was to make them for the set of the film Titanic. If only they'd made carpets for Hogwarts School, they might still be in business today. Look, I know that jumping to the 20th century kind of glosses over the Jacobite period that saw the downfall of the Boyd Earl of Kilmarnock. But there's probably a whole video on that in itself. It also skips over these two guys behind me, Robert Burns and the publisher John Wilson. When Wilson published Burns's first book of poems here in Kilmarnock in 1786, it was one of the most significant events in Scottish cultural history. Now, if you doubt that, then find somewhere in the world in January where there are Scots and people will be reciting from it. Any concert of Scottish folk music will include songs that followed. Every time we pass from one year to another, every time a Japanese supermarket closes, you'll hear the songs of Robert Burns. And the first time a book of his poems was distributed to the world was here in Kilmarnock. Before Kilmarnock, Burns was heading for Jamaica. No tam o' shanter, no Burns suppers, no Auld Lang Syne. Jump into the 20th century would also ignore the industrial boom for a town of such diversified skills and trade base. Like the lace loom weavers here at Belford Mill. What happened was the Marquis of Titchfield's marriage brought huge swathes of Ayrshire land in 1795. He came up with a plan to revitalise coal in the area, improve the town centre and build broad new streets. Also, to develop a port at a town of Troon that would be key to the success of Kilmarnock. Build a canal to get coal, farm produce and other manufactured goods to that port. Now, the canal was never built, but a rail line was. The Kilmarnock and Troon Railway, built between 1808 and 1812, was originally intended for freight, but it turned out to have been one of the first ever timetabled passenger services. This is the Lake Milton Mill Viaduct. It was built for that railway line, and today it stands as the world's oldest surviving railway viaduct. From June 1812, the Kilmarnock to Troon service was horse-drawn, but later it would become steam. They experimented with a steam locomotive called the Duke in 1820, making Kilmarnock one of the earliest in the development of steam transportation in Scotland. Kilmarnock grew rapidly. But let me show you what else happened in 1820. This guy opened a grocer's shop. The young lad's dad had died, and the trustees of the estate sold their farm, and they thought that the young lad needed another way to make a living. And so they bought a grocer's shop. They named the store after him, John Walker. He sold general groceries and blended flavours of tea and whiskey. I'll be honest, nobody remembers the tea. But the whiskey he blended grew to become the biggest of all the Scotch whiskey brands. And like the store, named after him, Johnny Walker. So, we're in the industrial age. We're exporting coal, we're engineering. There's steam-powered carpet production, for God's sake. Aye, that's right, steam-powered carpets. It was only when the age of steam carpets ended that Alibaba had to diversify into fast food carryout. Actually, I think that's in Aberdeen. Steam-powered shoe production. That was another thing. Oh, Kilmarnock was a hotbed of shoemaking. Do you remember Saxons? Proper Scottish shoes, mate. Industrialisation meant the town spread quickly. Gaslighting arrived in 1822. A better public water supply in 1850. John Finney Street here around 1864. When public money ran out, a town councillor, Archibald Finney, got funding from his uncle John, who'd made money in South America and now lived in Lancashire. The street would run from the train station and make an impressive entry to Kilmarnock. Banks, offices, halls and shops, retail on the ground floors, offices and professional chambers above. Ornamental facades, red sandstone with classical or Renaissance details all spoke of stability, success, Victorian social order and civic pride. Of course, the success of any community is based in education. So let me show you something. This is the old Kilmarnock Academy. It was built in 1898. See that tower? It's an astronomy tower and an observatory. I've heard somebody say that Kilmarnock Academy was one of the only schools that took science teaching seriously in the mid-19th century. Well, if they did, it was worth it. Because in the 20th century, that school produced 2 Nobel Prize winners, 2 of them, from a town in industrial Ayrshire. That is something. Alexander Fleming is a household name. Some say that his discovery of penicillin and its mass production won the Second World War. Allied troops recovered from infections that killed both sides during the First World War. The other Nobel Prize winner was also a man of science, John Boyd Orr, although he was given the Nobel Prize for Peace. Strange, isn't it? The Nobel Prize for Peace. And yet FIFA, nothing. Oh, I should say, that building is now used as a theatre and cultural arts centre stage. Do you know who will be performing in there on the 20th of August? That's right, me. I'll be doing my stand-up show, Scotland Made the World. So tell everyone in Kilmarnock and surrounds. Go on, share it, share it. By the time this goes up, there will only be 6 shows of the entire tour left. The one here in Kilmarnock 2 at Edinburgh Fringe, 1 in Hawick, 1 in Kirkcaldy, and the last one in Stirling. So tell everyone. They can get tickets at www.brucefummey.co.uk. Now, let's be honest, many Scottish towns are struggling in these modern times. And Kilmarnock has taken its knocks as well. Mines closed down, engineering moved away, carpet and shoe production cheaper abroad. Even retail's lost now and Jeff Bezos has all the money. But this town has a proud history of firsts for Nobel Prizes and for Scotland's 2 most iconic brands. I hope to see you and hear from a show on the 20th of August or some other around the country, but I hope I've given you a glimpse into the history of Kilmarnock. I've made videos about the history in other Scottish towns, and there's a belter coming up on screen now. If you enjoyed this video, then hype it, share it, and watch the next one. It's the only way that these videos make it to a wider audience. You can support the channel by clicking top right to become a Patreon member, or get all the links for shows and guided tours in the description below. In the meantime, Hammy and Doch is going to be Lama. Sherry and Drasta.